Before Volodymyr Zelenskyy could even step into the room, the message had already been sent. Donald Trump dialed Vladimir Putin first, not Kyiv. No official welcome, no ceremonial reception, no public embrace. Instead, a sequence of calculated moves that many now describe as a deliberate humiliation. Before meeting Ukraine's president, Donald Trump picked up the phone and called Vladimir Putin. The call was initiated by the U.S. president and lasted 1 hour and 15 minutes. According to the Kremlin, the tone was friendly, constructive, and businesslike, setting the stage before Zelenskyy even landed. During the conversation, Trump pushed hard for an end to the war. He told Putin he believed Russia wanted a political and diplomatic settlement. The discussion went further, touching on Donbass, territorial realities on the front line, and the idea that Kyiv must make a quick decision to end the fighting.
A telephone conversation between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump has just ended. The conversation was initiated by the US President, who wanted to discuss with our President the current situation in the context of the Ukraine conflict and the possibilities for its resolution. He wanted to discuss these issues before meeting with Zelenskyy later today in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. At the beginning of the conversation, which lasted 1 hour and 15 minutes, the presidents exchanged warm greetings on the occasion of the Christmas and New Year holidays, and of course wished happiness to the peoples of both countries. The entire conversation that followed was equally friendly, cordial, and businesslike. It was characterized by a mutual interest in moving toward a peaceful, long-term resolution of the Ukraine conflict. Donald Trump listened attentively to Russia's assessment of the real prospects for reaching an agreement. Our president presented detailed arguments about the fundamental importance of continuing to focus on the basic Russian-American understandings reached during the summit in Anchorage and numerous contacts between representatives of the two administrations. The main thing is that the Russian and US presidents generally share similar views that the temporary ceasefire proposed by Ukraine and Europe under the pretext of preparing for a referendum or other excuses will only prolong the conflict and could lead to a resumption of hostilities. To finally end the fighting, Kiev, above all, needs to make a bold and responsible political decision in line with the work being done through Russian-American channels. Given the situation on the front lines, it would make sense for the Ukrainian regime to adopt this decision concerning Donbass without delay. Donald Trump insisted that the war must be ended as soon as possible, speaking of the impressive prospects for economic cooperation between the United States and Russia and with Ukraine that would then open up. Acknowledging that the Ukrainian crisis had been the most difficult for him, Trump said that he was once again convinced of Russia's desire for a political and diplomatic settlement. It is with this in mind that he intends to conduct today's negotiations with Zelenskyy. It is worth noting that during today's conversation, the Russian president agreed with the American side's proposal to continue working on regulating the situation around Ukraine within the framework of two specially created working groups. One of them will deal with various aspects of security issues, and the second will deal with economic issues. The parameters for the start of these working groups will be agreed upon in the near future, most likely in early January. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump agreed to speak again by phone following the US president's meeting with the Ukrainian team in Mar-a-Lago this evening.
Putin and Trump reportedly agreed that a temporary ceasefire, framed around a referendum or territorial pause, would only prolong the conflict. According to Moscow, the real end to hostilities depends on decisions made in Kyiv. Two working groups were proposed to continue peace efforts. Christmas greetings were exchanged. Then came Zelenskyy. Earlier, he landed in Miami with no official reception, No red carpet, no senior U.S. officials waiting at the tarmac, just a handshake with Ukraine's ambassador, a scene strikingly similar to his recent arrivals in Brussels and London. No suit, no ceremony, no presidential welcome. While Trump spoke at length with Putin, Zelenskyy was received by his own diplomats and flight crew. In diplomacy, optics are signals, and this one was impossible to miss. By the time Trump and Zelenskyy finally sat down, the hierarchy was clear. Moscow had been consulted. Kyiv had been kept waiting. Whether this was strategy, pressure, or a warning shot, the sequence itself told a story. And in this war, timing is power.
President, do you think Putin is serious about peace this time?
I do. I think he is. I think they both are.
I called him. What was your message to Mr. Putin?
Got to make a deal. Got to get it done. Too many people dying. And I think both presidents want to make a deal. We believe that. I'm going to brief you on that.
We need Putin again soon.
Depends. I do believe that we have the makings of a deal. It's good for Ukraine, good for everybody. It's very important. There's nothing more important, in my book. We settled 8 wars, and this is the most difficult one. I thought it would be in the middle of the pack. This is the most difficult one, but we're going to get it done. We're going to have a great meeting today. This gentleman has worked very hard, and he's very brave, and his people are very brave. I mean, what they've gone through, no nation, very rarely has a nation ever had to go through this. So we're going to have a very good meeting today, I think, and I'm also calling President Putin back after the meeting, and we'll continue a negotiation. Pretty complex, but not that complex.
Can you meet the New Year's Day deadline?
I don't have deadlines. You know what my deadline is? Getting the war ended. We don't have deadlines. You agree with that?
Are you prepared to sign security agreement today?
Well, it depends what the security agreement says. What a dumb question. Nobody even knows what the security agreement is going to say. But there will be a security agreement. It'll be a strong agreement. And the European nations are very much involved in that. They'll be very much involved in protection, etc. But the European nations have been really great. They're very much in line with this meeting and getting a deal done. They're terrific people. I think you can say that. There's nobody there. They all want to get it done, and they've been very supportive, I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for this meeting. Thank you for your organization. Yes, really, I agree with President. Our teams, they do what they can. And I think that during last month they moved forward with negotiations and Americans. Thank you very much for your team, Steve and Jared. And they worked very well, I think. And they worked on different documents. I hope that all these documents can bring peace as quick as possible. So, and I agree with the President that really European yes, and the President is in contact with them, and maybe we'll contact with them.
We can go
Today.
What made you want to come in person to meet the president today?
Sorry?
What made you want to come here to Mar-a-Lago to meet the president today?
What? Yeah. What?
Why?
So we have we spoke about our teams. They work on 20 points plan. Then they worked on prosperity and security document. And 20 points plan is very important. We have to discuss and sequencing. Very important. Our teams talked about strategy, how to make step by step, and to bring this closer. And we will discuss this strategy.
Mr. President, are you going to make territorial concessions?
We will speak about 20 points plan. There in 20 points plan, 90% by the way was done by our 2 teams. I think they made a great job, great work, and yes, we will discuss these points also.
And there are great economic benefits for Ukraine also, because there's a lot of rebuilding to do. There's a lot of wealth to be had, and they have great wealth. Potentially, they have great wealth. They want to get started, but there's a great economic benefit for Ukraine in what we're talking about.
President Trump, some are saying that the recent attacks in the past couple of days that Russia's staged against Ukraine shows that President Putin isn't serious about peace. What is your reaction to that?
No, he's very serious. I think, I can say that I believe Ukraine has made some very strong attacks also. And I don't say that negatively. I think you probably have to. I don't say that negatively. But I think, and he hasn't told me that, but there have been some explosions in various parts of Russia, and it looks to me like, I don't know, I don't think it came from the Congo. I don't think it came from the United States of America. It possibly came from Ukraine, but I haven't asked that question. Maybe I won't bother asking. They're fighting a war, and we'll see what happens. But I believe it's a war that we have two willing parties, we have two willing countries. They want to see it end. Look, the people of Ukraine wanted to end, and the people of Russia wanted to end, and the two leaders wanted to end.
Mr. President, on the economic benefits for Ukraine, Europe is holding some billions in frozen Russian assets. Do you believe that should go to Ukraine to help rebuild, or go back to Russia?
None of that's been determined, but it'll go. It's going to go very quickly. I think we're in final stages of talking, and we're going to see. Otherwise, it's going to go on for a long time. It'll either end, or it's going to go on for a long time, and millions of additional people are going to be killed. Millions.
So would you say,
and nobody wants that.
are you so frustrated with this
expecting
president?
to get to an agreement today.
Would you say you're
When
so
you say,
frustrated?
when you say that you think it will either end or will go on for a long time, and you say you don't have a deadline, so what are you expecting out of today's
I just think we can move very rapidly. I really feel that. We've spoken. I know you had dinner with Steve. Steve Witkoff and Jared have done a fantastic job. And everybody has. Mark has been incredible. The whole group has been, our group has been incredible. And Ukraine appreciates it, and Russia appreciates it. They both want to see it end, and we're going to get it ended. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you, I think, at the end, but I do think we'll call Europe also. We're going to speak to the European leaders. Thank you very much.